Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today I have a review for you, and it's a product that I ended up buying on a whim, but has become probably my favorite multi-tool of all time. But we'll get to that. Before that though, I want to kind of backtrack and give you some background on me carrying knives and or multi-tools around with me. I've liked carrying pocket knives, folders, things like that for quite a while now. I'm not a knife collector, I don't have a ton, but I would carry a few. Like this is a GEC Northfield American Jack, great knife, and it's a really cool, traditional slip joint. Maybe not always the most practical thing in the world, but it has a couple blades, it works. Knives like this, a Case Trapper. I have another beautiful GEC Grinling Whittler. This is a beautiful little slip joint knife. Things like that, or maybe more kind of modern folders like this. This is Russian made. But more and more often lately, I started wanting to carry a multi-tool around with me just for the utility, for the practicality. I would find myself, I don't know how many times in a week, needing to have access to a Phillips head screwdriver or a pair of pliers or something like that. And so a few years back, you may have seen the review, I purchased the Leatherman Charge AL right here. And I really liked this multi-tool a lot, and I carried it with me quite a bit. Love the utility. It has a lot of tools. I think 19 or 20 tools are packed into this little thing, but it's kind of bulky and it's kind of heavy, and I like to wear, svelte, slim fit jeans, and it's kind of just a load in your pocket. And so more and more often lately, I found myself actually shying away from this and giving up the utility of having a multi-tool and just carrying one of my smaller folders, just for the convenience, just for the size, and just for the weight. But recently, I was in the hardware store and I decided to pick up this. It is the, which way does it go? The Leatherman Skeletool CX. Now the CX version has a slightly better blade steel and some carbon fiber accents on the scales here. That's what's different between it and the normal Skeletool. Now initially I'd seen these before, and I just kind of thought, meh, I didn't like the look of them. I didn't think they had enough tools in them. Very few compared to the Charge. But the more and more I looked at it in the hardware store, as it's the first time I'd actually seen one up close in real life, I decided, it's very svelte, it's very slim, it's very trim. I picked it up, I hefted it, it's very light. I thought I would give it a try, and kind of just on a whim, I decided to buy it, and I'm really glad that I did. I've been enjoying carrying this around a lot. I've been getting a lot of utility out of it, and the best thing is that it doesn't create just like a giant load in my pocket that I have to hump around all day. So let's take a closer look at this. I want to go over some of the features. I might compare it a little bit to the Charge AL, and we'll talk about pros and cons of the two models. We'll mostly be focusing on the Skeletool though. And then at the end, I guess I'll give you my conclusion. I guess you already kind of know that I like this a lot. All right, gang, let's check it out. The Leatherman Skeletool CX, shown here. Just wanted to show you the box really quickly. Nothing too exciting. It comes with or without a nylon sheath like this. It's just typical for, I think, the 4-inch to 4.5-inch Leatherman tools. Nothing too exciting, nothing to write home about. You can fit a bit kit behind there in this little elastic section. I don't really see any use for a sheath for a tool this size. I think it's compact and light enough that you can just pocket it. But if you want the option, you can get it with a sheath, and then there are other sheaths that are available for Leathermans as well, leather ones, Molly ones, things like that. But I don't really need it. But here's the tool itself. You can see it's kind of an interesting skeletonized design, as the name would suggest. We have just 7 tools on this. Let me go over some of the features here. The Skeletool CX is $79.95. With or without the nylon sheath. The regular version of the Skeletool is $59.95, and that version is just all stainless, and it has a 420 high carbon blade. This one has a 154 cm blade. You may be able to see that. And the blade on this one is not a combo blade, but the one on the normal Skeletool is a combo blade. It has a little serrated section down there. So a little bit better nice steel, and the handle material has this little bit of carbon fiber and just this, I think this is anodized in aluminum on the scales as opposed to just kind of a stainless color. So that's, you're paying $20 extra for those features. I thought it was worth it in my opinion. Now, the Skeletool is a very simple multi-tool. I showed you in the intro that I carried around the Charge AL quite a bit. And here she is. I think this has been replaced now by just the Charge Plus, which is very similar, but it just has a few different components. But we'll be talking about the AL and the Plus maybe interchangeably. So right now, I think the Plus goes for about $139.95 and has 19 tools. So it's a thicker, bulkier, I guess in some ways more versatile and more practical multi-tool. But this is a weight of 8.3 ounces, about the same size, you know, footprint, maybe a little fatter in width, you know, this way, about the same height, and then obviously much thicker, as you can see. But this is 8.3 ounces, the Skeletool is 5 ounces. So a significant weight saving, especially in a package this size. This just feels like a load. It's really compact and it's really, I guess, dense for the size. And it feels great. It's a really well-made tool, but you know, it's a load. I keep saying that, it's a load in your pocket. So the Charge comes with 19 tools, many of which I find really practical, but you know, at the end of the day, which tools do I find myself using the most? That would be the normal blade, occasionally the saw blade here. I would use the pliers quite a bit. And then the scissors, I always like having scissors on multi-tools, but you know, you can give or take those. And then I would use the bit kit a lot. And that's about it. And occasionally I would find a use for another one of those tools. So for the size and the weight, I wasn't really using all those tools on a daily basis or even a weekly basis or a monthly basis. The Skeletool, it does away with a lot. Whereas this has 19 tools, this has 7. So much lighter, far fewer tools, but what it does have, I just think it's more practical. We have the blade that you can access without opening the tool. A little bit smaller. I think the blade on this is 2.6 inches and on the Charge it is, I think 2.9. Pretty cool blade geometry there. I find that it cuts rather well. Pretty good, just kind of all around practical blade. And like I said, 154 cm steel. So it's kind of a nice balance between durability, edge retention, and corrosion resistance. Not a bad steel there. And then all you have on the outside is the blade here. You have this carabiner slash bottle opener here, which is quite useful. And then when you open the tool up, you can open it just one side and you have your bit kit. And that comes with both a, oh yeah, you have to actually depress this to unlock the bit. It comes with a Phillips number 1 and number 2 like this. And then also hidden, where is it? Right here in the scales is another bit, and it has a little thumb nick there. You can just push that up, and it also comes with a flathead screwdriver in 1/4 inch and 3/16. And then you can also buy a bit kit for this, which I highly recommend. You get, I think, a total of 21 double-sided bits in a kit like this, with Torx and Star and Square and all sorts of different drives. Very practical. I like it a lot. I haven't bought one for my Skeletool yet. I keep these in my Charge case for the most part. And the Charge I've ended up just using for work most of the time. I keep it in my bag for when I'm at work, and this is for when I'm just walking around in my slim fit jeans. So basically, that's pretty much it for tools, guys. We have needle nose pliers, we have regular pliers. Those are considered a separate tool by Leatherman. We have soft wire cutters and hard wire cutters. 2 more tools. We have our 154 cm blade, we have our large bit kit, and we have our carabiner slash bottle opener. Did I say bit kit, bit driver? You can buy a bit kit for it. And that's it. But even though I'm the kind of person who thinks I need to carry a tool like this, I have found since I put this away and started carrying this, that there have been very few, in fact, I can't think of any situations where I needed this tool and didn't have it. This thing has done everything I have needed it to do, and there wasn't anything I needed to do that this thing couldn't. Does that make any sense? I don't know. But I really, really appreciate how slim this is, how light this is, how practical it is. I really like it a lot. The pliers are not anywhere near as beefy as the ones on the Charge, as you can see. So you're not going to be doing, you know, major plying with these, I guess, but they're useful for most of the things that I need them for. And like I said, I do construction and I use these at work more often. So these are either in my tool belt or they're in my truck. And I find use for these quite a bit at work. I wouldn't have as much use for this on, you know, just my daily routine, and that's where this comes in. I'm not always drinking beer constantly, but you know, if you're at a barbecue, you're at a friend's house, you always have that bottle opener handy. And 9 times out of 10, I'm looking for a Phillips head screwdriver or I'm looking for a knife. And that's what we have here. I like it a lot. It is replacing pretty much all these other knives that I would carry with me occasionally. Occasionally I'll still carry these depending on what I'm doing or what I'm wearing or if I just feel like it. But this Leatherman Skeletool CX, it's the real deal. And just to give you a little bit of an idea about the size, I know it's hard to really tell the scale from this video. My hand is, I think, a little over 8 inches long, 9 inches long, I can't remember, but the tool itself is 4 inches. You can see it in my hand like so, and then compared to the Charge, which is about the same length, much slimmer, much more svelte, much more lithe. And even though it's kind of a small tool, it's pretty practical. You'll see, if I open the knife, there's this little finger choil there. You can get your finger in that. And even though I have pretty big hands, I find that I'm able to manipulate this knife. And again, you know, it's a knife on a multi-tool, so this isn't gonna be the best knife you've ever used. It just has to be good enough. You're giving up maybe some of the utility from a really nice knife to have the other utility that you get from having a multi-tool. But you can choke up on it a little bit like this, and it's actually pretty nice. Fits the hand not badly at all. And then with the pliers, I almost cut myself. The pliers are, again, pretty petite, but you can see how, I thought this was gonna be really uncomfortable, but you sort of have this little swell here, or actually the inverse of that, a swell in the back. So that kind of fits in the palm of your hand, and your fingers can fit in here, and it works pretty well. This doesn't dig in like you would think, but again, you're not gonna be using this for really, really major tough jobs. This is just for light plying, light needle nosing, light wire cutting, things like that. The only other thing I would mention, you have to be a little careful, I've done it already, is as you're closing these, it's very easy to pinch your thumb between the plier head and this part of the scales. So make sure your thumb is out when you do that. I got a really bad blood blister when I first got this thing, and I did that to myself and I regretted it. So anyway, the Leatherman Skeletool CX, I think I'm in love. So there you go, gang. Whoopsh, the Leatherman Skeletool CX. I freaking love this multi-tool. And like I said, it's pretty much replaced every other knife, every other multi-tool. I carry it with me all the time. I enjoy having a lot of tools at my disposal, but I found more and more, like I said, that size and weight are more important than, I guess, versatility, and this pretty much does all the jobs I need it to do 9 out of 10 days. Like I said as well, $79.95 for the CX version. The CX version has that slightly upgraded blade steel, the 154 CM, and then the kind of cool carbon fiber accents on the scales. The regular version is $59.95. I would recommend both of them. At 5 ounces and 4 inches, this is a very slim, very compact, very practical little package, and I like it a lot. So thank you all so much for watching. I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things reviewing the Leatherman Skeletool CX. I'll see you later.